Hey everyone, welcome to Powertime. Let's have a listen to what's on today's show.
So there is a project internally at Microsoft called Project Sophia.
What is this GetAI thing?
And the goal of that was simply to say, go into a room. We know that the revolution with AI is coming. Take a small group of people and go innovate. Go think big, go push boundaries, and come back and tell us what can the future look in the era of AI.
Press about that at the moment, isn't there? So anyway, it's got a contentious stuff, so good.
Let's get into it.
It's power time. Get ready, let's go.
Hey everyone, welcome to Powertime. It is that time of the year where we get cracking into our episodes. I'm joined here with my partner host on the show, Mr. Matt Noble, who has an amazing announcement to make. Super excited about this. If anyone saw LinkedIn this week, it is lighting up all over the place with this new startup that he's involved in. So, Matt, what are you doing? What's happening? What is this GetAI thing?
What am I doing? So I've obviously left NCS, and I'll chat a bit about that. I've moved to Sydney, which is also quite interesting. So I'm in Sydney at the moment, which was obviously interesting and a big move, and I underestimated the move. So that was a sort of a last minute thing where I'm chucking and packing boxes of the removed list in my house and all of those types of things. What I'm really excited about is obviously GetAI. So one of the things that I was looking to do was move back to startup land. And there's a lot of opportunities potentially on the table that I was, exploring and all of those types of things. One of the proudest things and the highlight of my career was, building 80-20 and building a team, building a culture. I'm really competitive, and how do we build our brand within Microsoft, and how do we win all this work and all of that kind of stuff, and how do we establish ourselves in market? And that's probably what I'm really good at doing. And that's kind of one of my best skill sets was that. So as I was exploring these other opportunities and all of those types of stuff, GetAI opportunity came across my desk, which was really interesting. I think one of the key call-outs of the reason why was the partnership with Superloop. One of the things that we've had Jennifer Lowry on recently, contact center for Microsoft and all of those types of things. So I think a partner that has that telco backing, has that telephony, voice, contact center experience, can bring a lot to the table for customers. I think that's a real key point of difference that what we bring into market is that sort of end-to-end unique experience. So I was really interested in working more in the CCaaS space, and obviously this whole agentic experience, these agents and all of those types of things is something that I really wanted to explore and get my teeth into a bit more. Well, there's obviously some recent announcement from Charles and Satcher and all of these types of things, and I can see the direction of agents and what it's going to do, for the I guess the world. So just getting more on the front line, getting really immersified in contact center agents and all of those types of things was really exciting to me. So that was a massive key call out and key point of difference of the decision. But I'm 2 weeks in, and to be honest, I'm loving it. It's kind of a really good decision for me. Great team, and there's just so much excitement and opportunity in the space. And I think you've seen that from a Microsoft standpoint as well. But yeah, I'm loving being back to building something from scratch again. And we're not really building from scratch because we do have a lot of backing. So we actually are quite bigger than probably what most people think, given the Superloop investment, Superloop backing. We've acquired another Microsoft partner. We're in talks with other organizations for acquisitions. Yep. So we are going to build quite aggressively, again, which was why it led to the decision. But yeah, being able to really focus on these key elements, I think is a really key point of difference that we can bring to the partner ecosystem. So that's me going blah, but happy to field any questions from you, buddy, about the decision or put me on the hot seat or all of those types of things. So yeah.
I'm sure as we go through the podcast today, there'll be lots of questions. Look, I think it's super exciting to be involved in a partner that has an AI first kind of approach to everything it does. And the CCaaS, we've spoken about this a lot with low code and CCaaS. Actually, I spent last week with one of our customers up in Queensland some time of us going through, Copilot Studio and what it can do for IVR and voice chat, which is voice chat. Copilot Studio is one of the same thing for Microsoft. And I was really impressed. I think what customers are going to get out of this technology is a really a much better experience in the contact center and a quicker time to resolution. Everything that Jennifer kind of spoke about on an earlier podcast, I can see companies in Australia really embracing this now. That old style IVR, old style contact center, in a different world. And I think at the end of the day, it's about offering really great customer experiences. So I'm glad, mate, that you're in a startup that really centered around this world. I think it's an exciting time to be in the business. So, yeah.
You hit the nail on the head, AI. So we've done some planning days and stuff like that. And we truly want to be an AI first company, even our own internal processes and stuff like that. I'm already building agents for myself. Our finance team is looking to build agents, all of these types of things. So we really want to sort of eat our own dog food, if there's a terminology that we really want to start doing some of those things internally, because we can. We're not actually disrupting our own existing internal ecosystems and all the systems that we have. So we can really come in there and establish this from day one. But there's a lot of exciting time. There's been a lot of interest from market. A lot of people are reaching out. So it is an exciting time. I wouldn't recommend doing the move, the AI startup and the handover from a previous role all in the same week. Yeah.
Hey, I remember, hang on a minute. I remember the first month of last year, you doing a move through Christmas, I think, and it was really hot or something. And you were downsizing. And yes.
I remember that.
Yeah. So every year at this time you move house. So that's
never moving again.
I guess that just shows how busy you are.
The place that I'm moving into, that's it. I'm done. So I'll be living in Rosebery for the rest of my life. So
Yeah. This is kind of our first official podcast for the year, because the last predictions one we released, we actually recorded right at the end of December. But it's just an exciting, we've got so much controversy out there. There's a lot of articles at the moment and about Oracle and Salesforce in talks together. I don't know if that's going to happen, but that'd be really interesting in the market if they did merge those two companies. There's also DeepSeek got launched and dropped the stock price momentarily, a significant amount, like $500 billion off the market.
Did you buy NVIDIA? I was looking at NVIDIA.
That was my first thought.
My first thing was, if NVIDIA's on a discount right now, we're going to see a 15% bounce straight.
I didn't get in fast enough, but I still think it's okay now, because you think about it, because Stargate dropped as well, right? Which is a $500 billion investment into data centers and a consortium with Oracle and Microsoft and a whole bunch of people to really train the next models and get to ASI. And I thought that was
got operator.
It's just
all these.
So it's like, how do you,
some cool stuff.
How do you announce a $500 billion kind of contract? And obviously it's going to be piecemealed out and it's not going to be all at once. But NVIDIA played a big role in the data center rollout, as is I noticed Mesa is it. Facebook Meta data center just came online last week as well, full of GPUs. And so I think, there's just so many GPUs that need to be bought. I would have thought if Quantum was released this week that they would have dropped NVIDIA. I wouldn't have thought a Chinese model. And they're in a bit of trouble, it seems like. Apparently they've been downloading and ripping off. Copied OpenAI and deep trouble rather than deep.
Someone asked the model, like, what is this model? And I said, I said there's OpenAI 4.0 or something like that.
Yeah. But you know what?
The question.
It's great for the industry, right? Because it drives the thought process now to go, can we make cheaper, smarter, smaller models, I think.
Can we do more with less? The Microsoft terminology. Can we do more with less?
I think it's a brave enterprise company. Like when you're out in the in the wild, like we are, like at the cold face, talking to financial institutions and customers about adopting AI and dealing with the concerns that they have around this. I thought of them adopting a Chinese model. Just the thought of that. You're never going to get past that hurdle. But having said that, Azure Forge now supports DeepSeek. There you go. It was
that came out very quickly as well, which was so within 12 to 24 hours. That was it.
So I don't know.
It's a really interesting time. You got Benioff tweeting all the time about Copilot this and Copilot that.
Oh, he looked a bit stupid, didn't he, last year? I think when you sum it all up, he looked a bit silly with some of the stuff he was saying, because it was blatantly not true, and a whole bunch of Microsoft people retaliated. I think, I've seen Copilot Studio in customer box and demos now and voice chat. working, and the technology is just it's very good. It's well engineered, it's robust. Of course, Matt Common talked about it at our AI tour. It's gone to 9 million customers now. I think it's 17 million pretty soon for CBAR Inbank. So it's it's really robust, and engineering are talking about scaling this thing to 100,000 kind of concurrent connections for voice as well, for the voice channel. So it's huge scale. We just don't see that in Australia. So in Australia and New Zealand, I think we're covered now. I think the price right.
No, it's what everyone is talking about at the moment. All my conversations with customers are about CPS, so Copilot Studio. So that's all we're hearing at the moment. There's so many great use cases, and the ability to obviously extend into Azure AI Foundry and all of this kind of stuff. It's a rebrand of PBA as well. So that actually, it's been there for some time. So it's obviously been extended upon off the existing PBA stack and all of those types of things. So.
The irony is it was called Power Virtual Agent, which is probably the right name. Then we changed it to Microsoft Copilot. Now it's gone back to agents, Copilot with agents. It's like, we kind of got it right the first time. But anyway, it's a completely different product now to what it was back then from what I can see now. I did the level 300 training on it before Christmas that my team does. I like to try and do the training that my team does so I can kind of see the challenges they have. So I actively did that for a few days last year, and I was really shocked. If you're, we spoke about this on the predictions episode. If you're a Power Apps developer now and you're not building your skill set on Copilot Studio, you are missing a huge trick. I think these Copilot Studio developers will be hot in the market for the next 2 to 3 years. That's my gut feel.
Even more. I was telling my team for some time, and they could attest to this 6 months ago. I was like, Copilot Studio. Copilot Studio. I could kind of see the writing in the wall from some of the conversations and access that I get, and obviously you get, and all of those types of things, that this was going to be the change and shift of where things are going. So it's going to be an interesting time, particularly with the voice element, I think. So I think you and Greg spoke about all these people talking to their voice Copilot agents. And
it's coming to room.
In the office, it's coming. So what does that look like?
Talking of voice is really interesting from a productivity point of view, how the small things in AI can sometimes save your team a heap of time. So we've spoken about on this podcast how my team kind of create vision demonstrator videos for our customers to help their board and SLT kind of visualize what we're talking about and how it can save the customers time and money. And, off the back of that, a couple of weeks ago, we had to create one for a large postal organization, and I decided to do the voiceover completely with AI myself. And so I used my trained voice off this podcast software, actually. And I was super impressed at how good the voice cloning is for this kind of purpose. And the amount of time it saved me. Like I only had to upload the script, which we use Copilot to generate, and put that into the voice cloning tool, and it replicated me in probably under 2 minutes. No ums, ahs, no, I can normally speak, so it sounded a bit more professional than this podcast does. So it was and then my mind's thinking, right, like across my entire team, wow, everyone spends hours and hours doing this if they can use a tool. So the last few days I've been playing around with 11 Labs, and I saw a live demo. I went to the Emphasis Confluence tour at the tennis on the weekend, and Mel Doyle was hosting, and they had created out of 11 Labs and some other tooling a virtual version of Mel, and it was astonishingly very, very good, right? Like it looked like her, it sounded like her, and then she came out on the stage and explained with a couple of technical people how they did it. They actually showed a video on how they put it all together. So I thought, I'm going to get into 11 Labs and have a look and see if I can use that tool for my team to do voiceovers for all the videos and stuff they create, which will save them hours and hours of time. So that's what we're looking at now. So it's just, this tooling's, I call it, this year is the year of like, we've had kind of a year of AI where it's, hey, look at this cool stuff it could do. It's sort of like, here's the shiny toy.
More visionary. I think we're going to see the practical implementation and use of AI, I think. Did we talk about that in our predictions? Can I redo my prediction now?
Well, we did, right? We spoke about that in the predictions, and literally, I think now we're into February almost. We're starting to see it now, right? Like customers are going, real world example, show us how can we save productivity? What does it look like? And of course, our best example is Customer Zero, when we had Jennifer Lowry talk about what we can do with the contact center.
We need J-Lee back on, actually. I want J-Lee back on this year.
Yeah, she presented at one of my customers a couple of weeks back, and so good. The message is so good. So yeah. Awesome. So that was great. But really going into the detail on the savings and how we do it. So, this year is the actionable kind of AI. I think we'll see a whole bunch of stuff. It's the year of the agents as well, of course. It's going bananas.
Yeah. It's interesting with the agents and obviously, Copilot Studio rebranding to more agent functionality and agent branding and renaming. Even the way you would have designed solutions 3 months ago is changed, and all those types of things. There's multiple agents handling multiple tasks, and they're, triaging and handing off information to each other back and forward. If you designed a solution 3 months ago, 4 months ago, it would have been slightly different to the way you've got it now. There's going to be more agents.
Yes. Yeah.
I think the vision is an organization is going to be hundreds of thousands of agents potentially eventually. For a large scale organization, for a smaller one, less. But there's going to be so many of these agents working autonomously to provide a better service. Like I say, even myself, I've been building some stuff. It's exciting, and it's really easy to do. To be honest, I've been shocked at how simple some of this stuff is to set up and how much value and business value it can actually derive. But again, one of the key things is you're not just pushing AI for the sake of it. Yeah, you've actually got to focus on what is the problem and process that you're trying to solve. Yeah, AI is not this silver bullet that's going to magically fix everything. So you've got to really focus again on that business problem or business pain point that you're trying to resolve, and then you can seek a lot of benefit from that. So.
I think also because this natural language phenomenon, right? Like I'll have to dig up the exact statistics on how much code is going to be programmed with natural language in the future. I think the natural language thing is going to be the biggest game changer over the next 2 years. Yeah. And it just opens up the door to a whole bunch of people that, couldn't code. So it was interesting. Bevan Slattery posted on LinkedIn a couple of weeks back.
He's great, he posted a really good. He's like Nostradamus. Some of the stuff he was predicting 3 years ago was bang on. So yeah.
Well, he posted this kind of meme that said, if you in 2020, go be a coder, and we're all saying that, go be a coder, you got a job for life. Now it's, if you're a developer, you should be a tradie, right? And I was thinking about that, and I thought, well, actually, it's half true, right? It's half true. Yeah, developers will change, but the amount of people that can build apps in the future through natural language and build agents and things like that will actually open up the world to a lot more people and a lot more developers, which is the whole reason that low code was invented, right? So it's actually going to take it up to that next level. So I don't quite, I'm a bit now, I would say, on the fence on, developers, shrinking. I think it's actually going to grow. There's going to be more apps. There's going to be more agents.
It's going to be more efficient in what they're doing and deliver more value. And then the business is going to want more solutions because they're not paying, hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars for these previous applications that were developed. You can stand up this stuff really quickly and bring it to the business faster and solve more of their problems and processes. I completely agree with you. Yeah, I think there's going to be, for us to be able to get through more. Remember the low code statistics about how many applications are going to be developed, within low code, and how many more apps there are, and all of these types of things. Now, there might not be more apps. There might be more agents. There might be a combination of apps or more intelligent apps working with agents. But I think it does exist that we're going to see an influx of scale of solutions and business value being derived from what developers can bring to the table. So, yeah.
Yeah. But what's interesting about that is that there was a lot of apps and use cases that we were kind of over the last 5 years, kind of teasing out of organizations that really needed to be addressed. Access databases and stuff, Lotus Notes that have been there for years.
I want to get rid of them all.
But you couldn't attribute to an ROI to it. So like the company goes, yeah, we know we need to because the platform's gone or it's aged or a security concerns, whatever it is. Yeah, we need to get rid of that. Or it's an Excel spreadsheet that should be an app. But we just can't fund it. Like there's no
compelling event,
urgency there to fund. And so I think a lot of that stuff.
What's the point?
Yeah. Yeah, so I think a lot of that stuff's kind of going to get addressed now as it gets easier to go and build this stuff by the business, and a lot more prototyping, because you're going to be able to real time create apps with visual promptings really like this, planner.
Have you used that yet?
Yeah, all that stuff. So
that's a must use.
Yeah, no, I haven't yet. I haven't yet. It's Remus. I'll have to go and check it out. But so what I guess what my guidance is for a lot of customers now in this space is, it's really about the platform, right? It's about the platform and what you can, how you can secure and govern those applications, right?
Yeah.
And that's really what's key right now. So I think at the end of the day, making a decision on a platform that can scale, govern, secure, and provide low code and pro code right now is going to be the difference between you having a controlled approach to 10,000 agents and applications in your ecosystem, or 5 years from now coming back and going, wow, I don't know, I've got these things running and I don't know what they do. I've got agents doing all this stuff in the background. I don't know what they do. We've got no way to monitor that. And and the other thing I'm really noticing at the moment as well is, like, customers used to go best of breed all the time and create data silos. It's like, use this company for this and that company for that. And the integration costs are too expensive now to bring that together, and AI doesn't work unless it can access the data. So, having data centralized into an easy to reach platform is what's key right now as well. You want low cost integration, the ability to connect everything, you want a connected ecosystem so you can unlock the power and the unlocks that you get with AI. Effectively. So as more of these things get released this year, people are going to realize that. They're going to go, wow, I would really like to do this with our whatever Salesforce data or my Dynamics data or what.
Definitely,
how do I connect to it?
I'm definitely seeing that pop up as well. This whole concept of, business users building agents, how do they govern, how do they when they leave, all these types of things, monitoring, it's the same thing. So I agree, I can see some of the stuff within CPS is trading that way and all those types of things. Because, it's built on the Power Platform realistically. So a lot of that stuff already exists and all these types of things.
Yeah.
Microsoft's lucky that they do have a bit of a head start in that space because they obviously have the platform that's kind of built up for the similar model when it came to that. And they're the conversations we're also broaching with customers at the moment is governance and strategy and, agent almost classification. Yeah. Like, can my end users build productivity-based agents? And there's might be super users within the business that build those important agents. And then obviously all your critical agents still need to go through appropriate approvals and CAB and all of these types of things and, have underlying support and all that types of things. So it's the same concept that exists. It's just new technology. So, yeah.
And we've been super lucky in Power Apps world over the last few years because we've been building this platform and talking to customer about it for years. And now this stuff just kind of sits within the same platform. So that's a really easy conversation to have with all these startups like 11 Labs coming up. That's, you think about that, you clone your voice, it sits in that platform, it gets hacked, your voice is gone. Right? No. You don't want that to happen. So, do you really trust these startups coming up and these platforms as well? I'm not saying that. I'm saying that that's going to happen or they're dodgy or anything like that. I know nothing of that company. I'm not invested in that company. I just signed up and used it. So just state that, and it works quite well, right? But in a corporate sense, you need to know the answer to those questions, because you're guarding your employees and their reputation and your customers' reputation. So if you can't answer the question is, where's it hosted? Is it secure? Is it encrypted? Can I access it if I need to? Can I delete it if I have to? Then you shouldn't be,
definitely agree. Speaking of AI, we do have a very special guest that we're bringing on today as part of that. And it's very AI-centric.
Yes.
So there is a project internally at Microsoft called Project Sophia that Scott you're well and truly versed with.
Yes.
And we had a great chat with, what was Julie's role? She was the product owner or
Yeah. So Julie Strauss, the VP of the product, so she effectively owns it end to end. She was tasked from Charlton Manor, who's our CVP for engineering for BizApps.
And there's a lot of this space that's almost being infused into the other Microsoft products and platforms. And what really stood out for me in the conversation with Julie was a lot of the learnings that they've kind of shared, because, the AI technology is evolving weekly, let alone monthly, you know what I mean? So the way you build and design and change things and all these types of things is consistently changing. So having that mindset and being able to tackle that challenge and be able to shift and pivot is really critical when you're embarking on something that is so new and so raw almost when it comes to, the way that AI is evolving and adopting. So it was really, really interesting to see that evolve and what's happening in that particular space. That was kind of my key findings. What about you, Scott?
Yeah. So what I really love about Project Sophia, and for those that don't know what it is, which is probably most people listening, it is a full AI-driven agentic experience, probably the first app in Microsoft to go to market, and it renders the UI to the requirement of the end user. And this is really, really special, right? Because we're seeing this. You saw the, Satya saying SaaS is dead, CRUD gone, and all this kind of stuff, right? Like, and it's true, right? If you look at classic CRM applications, and I'm not saying for contact center, because I think you need an app for contact center. You need a guided experience for structured conversations like that. But CRM's a great kind of thing, right? Because if you think about traditional based applications, it's forms over data. Well, what's fast evolving is, can that experience be in my office productivity, which is most organizations' Microsoft Office? Can it be in Outlook? Can it be in Copilot? And now if it's in Copilot, it's a text-based thing. It's pretty easy for it to look at a Teams call with a customer and go, hey, the customer said that they have no budget, or the customer said that they really need a demo. And for, Copilot now to grab the insights and then write that to Dataverse, and your CRM's updated, right? Never having to go into the Dynamics UI at all. It's just a Copilot Office experience from end to end or in Teams. And so that's pretty easy. But what if it's something more complex, right? What if it's, I need to, Copilot, the customer has requested that we, change the products that are aligned to the quote, right? Like, that's kind of hard to, I'm sure if we get to AGI, Copilot will do it. But, even for the end user, do they really want that kind of commit, not commit kind of experience through Copilot, where they hit a button and go, yeah, the data looks right, just commit it? They may want a UI. So in that scenario, we want Copilot to be able to dynamically create a UI in the chat experience, the agentic experience, so they can then control that piece that they need to get done and then move on with the conversation again. And this is what you see in Project Sophia, which is, let me talk about my data, so you connect a data source and you talk about the data, and, show me my pipeline for the last 12 months, and it'll automatically render a bar graph or a pie chart of that data. And then you can use the AI cursor to kind of query that data and ask it to render. Yeah. So, and it's building this on the fly. So a lot of learnings. We'll see it go through the rest of the product suite over time. But the future of UI. So SaaS is not dead. The UI experience is just changing.
It's getting more intelligent. Like I say, this concept of this being the first agentic application. Julie talks about when she got started and all that kind of stuff, and I was, it's the coolest project. I was like, I would love to be on this project. So
it is cool. And we've been talking to customers for a little while about it. And you spend a couple of days with a customer and look at their process that they do today. Just wrapping those things around their processes they do today would save them hours. We have people say that it takes us hours to do this summary and this and that and these things. And we go, wow, the technology. It's like, it's before AI, I used to say all the time, technology has already solved these problems. Let's just work on getting it deployed. Definitely now it's never more.
Well, rather than give away our key insights from our interview, how about we bring on Julie to share with the rest of our audience?
Excellent idea, Matt. Let's bring on Julie. Hey everyone, welcome back to Powertime. I have our very special guest on today, Julie Strauss. It's been a fantastic, start to the year and we wanted to really hone in on a project that she's been working on. It's kind of Microsoft's biggest secret in biz apps, I suppose, but most people understand it to be Project Sophia and what it is. But before we get into that, Julie, how was your Christmas and your New Year? I mean, we're kicking into a year pretty quickly, right?
Yeah, no, thank you for having me as well. I had a wonderful break. Not a lot of a break, but wonderful nonetheless. So
Awesome.
I got to enjoy some time off and also kind of restart the thinking of what we will do with Sophia in the year to come. And that's always exciting.
Awesome. So maybe give us a bit of an overview of your career at Microsoft for those that don't know you before or have never listened to you, or maybe they don't even know what Sophia is as well. But maybe a bit of a overview of your career at Microsoft.
Sure. I will do the short version because I've been in Microsoft 200 years,
time.
more or less. So that's that hour.
Yeah.
No, I have literally been in Microsoft for what feels like 200 years. I actually started in BizApps, but then moved to Azure. So I've been in marketing, biz planning, support, NCS. I've moved to the product side in SQL, worked in SQL Server, SQL Database, and then I moved to BizApps probably now 6 years ago, where I was driving the admin and governance experiences for the Power Platform with a pretty sizable team. And then 2 years ago in April, we took a small team, very, very small team from there and started this incubation that we call Project Sophia. The goal of that was simply to say, go into a room. We know that the revolution with AI is coming. Take a small group of people and go innovate, go think big, go push boundaries, and come back and tell us what can the future look in the era of AI, where we allow ourselves to keep pushing for thinking a way to solve a problem with AI before going back to our traditional engineering patterns. So that's kind of a very long journey and put in a very short kind of recap.
It's an amazing story, right? Because a lot of people would love to be able to do that, have Microsoft come to them and go, hey, here's, you can create, blank canvas, create what you like.
Yeah.
And how was that conversation with Charles? It must have been an exciting conversation to have, like at that point, to go and do something new. And, I remember back, so I've been at Microsoft 8 years. So I remember a lot of governance calls with you and a lot of our big customers and really drilling into connectors and going, why can't we do this yet or this? And lots of those calls. So you were a great help for those years when you were doing that governance stuff. But how was that with Charles? Like really just starting a new project? Did you have really high expectations or was it, yeah?
Yeah, no, honestly, it's fun. Like I worked with Charles for many years and we always have really, really good conversation, very honest conversations. And working with the Power Platform was fun for me. It was something new. It's a place where you're kind of trying to slow down fast innovation because you want the governance, the security, everything to catch up, right? So my role there was like, let's slow down. Let's make sure we do A, Y, and C. So more of a conservative, big scale role. That's not really in my DNA. I learned a lot and I loved it, but that's really not in my DNA. I love pushing boundaries. I love being the one challenging status quo. So when I started brainstorming with Charles on Sophia, that was really what was driving a lot of that, to be able to do almost the complete opposite. And that's really the fun with organization like Microsoft and having opportunities like this is you do have the opportunities to take on different hats and use different skill sets. So with Charles, that conversation was really around imagine, like look at every big wave of transformation we have experienced. What do we think will happen with BizApps in the era of AI? Think about, I always use the example, think about Blockbuster and Netflix or what Uber did to cab companies. It wasn't Blockbuster who gradually evolved their business model to now be online. It was technology that completely disrupted what we know that industry to be today. And we're thinking, imagine AI does the same to BizApp. What will a BizApp look like? And when you have an existing product that you're evolving, you can't really afford to just think completely outside the box in parallel. That's why we decided to create a small team that has that luxury of not caring about an existing revenue or business, but just go push and figure out what can be done, but help all the other teams benefit from those learnings as well as you go. And as engineers, it is very natural for us to, you find a roadblock, oh, let's do it this way, that we have always done it. It's in our DNA, and it was fun to have the privilege to not do that, but keep pushing, even if it felt a little bit crazy what we were trying to do. So it was a fun conversation, a lot of like principles up front for what we wanted to accomplish. It's not just go crazy. Like there were rules and guidelines to be followed, and I feel we've done actually a good job staying within those boundaries. So it's been fun.
I've got FOMO, Julie. These are one of my projects. Blank canvas, break their narrative.
Hey, you're doing that now, Matt.
You're doing that now with the startup. I'm sitting there. I'm like, I need to get involved in Sophia. So yeah, that's right. I guess for those listening who don't understand Sophia in a lot more detail, I guess the new messaging from Microsoft Copilot is the UI for AI. Or Copilot Studio is obviously your agent building experience. How would you sort of summarize it in sort of those terminologies for what Sophia is going to bring customers moving forward? Like, what are they going to get out of this particular technology? So yeah, that's probably my question.
Yeah, good question. I will split it into two because I think we have two purposes with Sophia. One purpose is go innovate and share with the rest of Microsoft as we learn, because we can run faster. We have learned a lot that other teams, instead of now repeating the same kind of learnings, let's just accelerate. So there's a lot of what we do. The AI cursor, you see it in many Microsoft products today that came from Sophia. So customers will see Sophia, whether they use Sophia or not, but they will see concepts and learnings. But it is also, if we think about Sophia in its full form, what it really is in a one-line sentence, it is built to be a research canvas for business leaders. So imagine any business question you might have as a business leader, ask it to a canvas, and we kind of help you build a research journey. So we take the data you share or you point to, and we start to interrogate that data. We create visualization. So the UI is generated on the fly. We don't decide what is the UI, like the large language models determine what are we visualizing based on the dimensionality of the data. Do you see a bubble chart or a line chart, etc.? And as we research the data, we come up with new angles into that data that might be relevant. So it's like Sophia is like a brainstorm assistant for you as you engage with your data. That's really what it is. So you will also see that as a capability in addition to being seeded into other products as well.
It's such a powerful tool. We were talking about this earlier, Matt, where if you are doing a traditional migration from one technology to another, one thing you have to always consider is all of my dashboards and, all of these things that need to be migrated as well. And someone has to physically stand there and, code and build these Power BI dashboards, and we've always had to do that with traditional uplifts as well. Consider how we migrate old reports to new reports, migrate reports from one place to another, and how we create reports and things like this. And it's actually a big part of any migration from one technology to another, and particularly Dynamics. How do I recreate those reports? They've all got to get pointed to another data source. They've all got to be manually coded and created. And it's actually a significant cost to a lot of companies. And usually it's a time to rethink as well. What do we think? But now we're stepping in. Sophia opens up a new world for us, right? Where in product, perhaps we don't even need to create reports. Maybe we can grab some of this technology and just go, visualize this data in Dynamics for me or in this Power App, but then also to have it as a standalone tool that I can give to an executive. So, I guess my question around that is, do you envisage like significant optimizations when it comes to people doing migrations or standing up new environments and things like that using Sophia and the tooling?
Yeah, I think it will definitely help in a lot of ways. But I think there's two things I would say up front. I would say Sophia is not a BI tool.
Okay.
Even though it look and feel like it, because we create visualizations, but it is not. And here's the flavor of it. Let's say for anything, it is really a research canvas. So for any KPI you use to manage your business every single day, you don't want the representation, visualization of that to change every day, right? So you want to know, what are my sales? What's my customer incidents? How are each of my territories doing? You want BI for that period. But what Sophia can help do is say, oh my gosh, that number is 400 today, it was 200 yesterday. Why?
Interesting.
Now you can ask and have a dialogue with that data using Sophia. And Sophia can help bring more aspects of your business into figuring out why that number changed. So we actually also see customers use Sophia to figure out which BI reports to create.
Interesting.
Yeah. Because you can do a lot of kind of investigations in parallel. But you brought up another point. It may sound like I am contradicting myself. I hope I'm not. But in context of dynamics, for example, there's a difference in having the dashboard that leads your business and having analytics in context of an application. Having analytics in context of an application, Sophia may indeed be the much easier approach. Why? Because when you create these in context visualizations, you rely on somebody deciding what is important to you, and that's hard. They're never good enough. But with Sophia, you can just ask questions over the data. So I think we will end up in a situation where you don't need all these pre-built dashboards.
Yes.
You just ask a question of your data and we generate that visualization on the fly. So for all of running your business KPIs, I think you will always need BI. You will always need reports and dashboards. But for more the how do I manage my business? How do I ask ad hoc questions? Sophia is quite perfect for that.
Yeah, it's really interesting, isn't it? It's amazing you say that, because I was with a customer only last week and we were talking about, do you use the out-of-the-box reporting for the technology that they were using in the contact center? And they said, no, we don't use it because none of the reports really meet our requirements as a business. So I think a lot of that out-of-the-box reporting is, to your point, it's been designed by someone that probably doesn't understand your business 100%. So this opens up a whole dialogue with your data.
And I think that's another kind of where we have invested a lot recently with specifically over Dynamics and Dataverse to make Sophia really understand those schemas.
Yep.
Because that means you can ask questions and we understand more deeply what probably your intent is. That's why you end up building reports, because you're trying to get intent out.
In regards to that, you touched on something that's really interesting, obviously being able to capture trends and stuff and basically pass that onto your BI tool. I'm wondering if these trends could be passed on to agents. We're in this year of the agents. Is the data from Sophia or these queries from Sophia being able to be passed on to agents to actually action some of these insights and trends and basically provide a better experience for that organization? Is that kind of on the roadmap, and is that kind of the direction it's going to be undertaking and heading towards?
We are actually well on our way to doing some of that. So
awesome.
So again, there's multiple layers to it. If we peel the onion a little bit, under the covers of Sophia, now already we are actually having like multiple agents. It wasn't agents 3 months ago, 4 months ago. Now it's all agents. So we have, let's say you ask a question like, so let me answer that first. We have now multiple agents under the covers for Sophia. We will also be working on how do we tap into other agents outside Sophia so we can federate agents. That means you will be able to do actions of agents built in other experiences. So the goal of Sophia is always to complement other experiences. So we do envision, that's not done yet, but that's on the roadmap. But going back to the agents in Sophia, let's say you ask a question, like the difference between Sophia and most other agents as well is we're really trying to push the boundaries between using natural language and using business language. Natural language is go to my opportunity table and select the following. That's natural language and it's fantastic. But what if you don't know it's in the opportunity table? So what we're really pushing with Sophia is use your business language and we will understand to go to the opportunity table, the account table, the lead table, etc., or entities. So with Sophia, you can ask a question like, show me the sales for Black Friday for the last 3 years. That really means some person would otherwise have to say, let me build a model that go in and I find out that in 2001, Black Friday was November 25th. In 2002, it was a different date, etc. You build a model over that. Now you can build a report. You never do that. It takes forever to do, and it's only relevant for one question. With Sophia, we have an agent that go and say, give me the date ranges for Black Friday. Black Friday is not part of my data set. Now another agent is, let me go to my sales data and get that data. Third agent, what visualization should I use to properly visualize the insight in this data? So you don't really see that, but all of Sophia is really an agentic infrastructure like that.
That's really interesting because I think that's what all of our customers would really like to go and create. So, and your engineers are building it. So that's, it's fantastic. What about the large language model in the back? Is it powered by a whole bunch of different ones, or are we just using OpenAI, or is it running the latest models? How do you deal with that? Because they seem to drop every week, right? Another model.
We actually have many different models that we are optimizing for. Okay. Because if you imagine, even inside Sophia, we have an agent that planned the research for you where to go. That's one model. Yep. You have another agent to go and get the actual data. That's a different model. So it's actually a network of models that we are using behind the covers.
And is the reasoning behind that cost, or because they do a better job, or what was the thought process between leveraging different models?
Just because different models, and just like humans, some are better at some things than others, right? Yep. So it has to do with some are slower but more accurate. You'd use that in the areas where accuracy is more important. Yep. And you have others where volume and you just pick the model that is better for your task.
Yeah, okay.
That is only possible because we use many different agents. Otherwise, that would be hard to accomplish. But it's kind of a benefit of using an agentic infrastructure.
Yeah.
So we're trying to give customers the best of all the worlds in the right place.
Yeah. Well, this is something customers just can't go and create, right? It needs to be created by someone like Microsoft to be able to give it to them in a way that they can consume it. So we're in a pretty good position to do that. Let's talk about data sources. What data sources can customers use today with Sophia, and what are we planning in the future?
That's a good question. That has changed quite a lot. So if we had this conversation 4 months ago, my answer would be different. So today we do support a local file, Excel, PDF. We support Dataverse and D365 sales and service.
Yep.
And we do support Salesforce in private preview.
Okay.
And for now, that's actually where we're going to invest. Had you asked me 4 months ago, I would say, we are going to support all the data sources in the Power Platform, which indeed we might. But it turns out that it is really, really, really hard to understand intent and translate this business language into any data source. So what we decided to do is to go and be really, really phenomenal over fewer data sources first before we expand. We will expand, but having kind of okay answers over many data sources is not the way to success. We have learned it really be fantastic over fewer data sources. I say that pushing the boundaries way beyond what any product in the market can do today.
Yeah.
I challenge you to go and find a product who can tell you sales for Black Friday.
Yeah.
We have not found any, but that is because of all the investments we are really doing in trying to not have to support a common schema. We want, and that really goes into the value prop of Sophia. The goal is that you don't have to have IT build a semantic model for you to get value. It is really to understand and engage with the raw data, because that's the power of AI. It is using AI to understand the volumes of data that the human can't. And that's really where we honed in during deep conversation with customers. There's so much value by not having somebody select what is important for your model, because your answers from that you've already been conditioned to what you can see. But by allowing AI over the full data set, we can actually help you identify aspects of your business you wouldn't have thought of, or you didn't even have access to understand. So it's the ability to actually try a different perspective into your enterprise data, which is very exciting, if you ask me.
It is exciting. I know a lot of my team and the extended team use it as a visionary tool for customers. So, and the customer feedback has been amazing, right? Because no one's really seen these kind of experiences before. I think everyone has it in their head when they look at, ChatGPT or Copilot or Copilot Studio, and they go, wow, I think we could use this for data to go and do this. But no one's tried to build it yet. And you guys have been able to have success in building it. And that's been a great first step. I'm assuming you've got private preview customers on it as well. How's the customer feedback been so far on the product?
We have been extremely fortunate to work with some highly committed customers that have been willing to dedicate a lot of time with us to innovate through the product. Because there's a difference in really sticking with it, and when you get a bad result, call us and say, bad is not as incorrect, but not what you expected, right? So, but it's like that commitment to continue to working with us and give us feedback on where to fine tune the outcomes is incredibly time consuming. But that has been more important for us than engaging with 1,000 customers who want this to be blue or red or green. But really digging in and spending hours on end with us for what the intent is has been such a rewarding experience. So we have some really, really, really impactful and powerful customers that we work with very closely.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. I can imagine, a lot of customers that want to really get this right for their business. Yeah, that's right. So,
yes.
Come on the journey with Microsoft. I have a question. You touched on it a few times that you have to pivot and shift and all these types of things. And then that made me think, I was on a call with a customer yesterday, in their scenario when we were building Copilot Studio, I would have designed it completely different 3 months ago than I would now. I'd be using multiple agents and all these types of things. What's it been like running an AI project or of this size? And the technology has changed so much in the last 2 years. How have you kept the team motivated? And because you might have hit a roadblock and we need to redesign it this way now because this is the way of the new technology. What's that experience been like? Because I can imagine that would be challenging, rewarding, and all types of emotions all in one. So yeah.
Yes. For me personally, it's been one of the most rewarding projects I've ever worked on. But also, I don't mind a roadblock. In fact, that's what keeps me excited. So I really thrive in that environment. And I will say the team we've put together are all people who thrive with that, who've really, I would say, committed to a growth mindset where it's not about being right. It's about learning. It's about learning what we thought was brilliant yesterday just is not brilliant today for a lot of reasons. Like we thought we knew better, or we thought AI could do this. AI cannot do this. And I will give you an example as this notion to being amazing to have a conversation in business language over data. That wasn't what we planned to do. But nobody is doing it, and there is value. But that has required us to say, look, our list of 1,000 data sources, it's just not going to happen right now. But that's hard if you just did a session somewhere promising that's what we're going to do, right? You have to be humble and just admit that that's not kind of what is possible right now. The team is motivated because these are all individuals who joined with the opportunity to really go and push the boundaries. But it is hard to do. I say it is a different, a specific DNA that you have to want to change and pivot. But it's exciting because we get feedback from the field, from customers, and that's the energizing thing. You make a pivot and you see, wow, that really resonates. That's super rewarding. Much more rewarding than keep building something that customers are not excited about. So
that's awesome. I love you touched on growth mindset because Satya did a podcast in December with another podcast group, and it was excellent, right? And halfway through the podcast, they spoke about, what in your leadership, what has made a major difference to the way that you've shown up and changed the culture. And he attributed it all to the growth mindset, which was he got a book from his wife, and he read that book, and it was more about education and his kids. And he said, "Wait a minute, a growth mindset is everything." And when I joined Microsoft 8 years ago, the growth mindset was kind of just kicking off then, and I must admit, it's made a significant difference to just that one term, and the essence of that and what it means has made a massive difference to Microsoft's culture and the way we work and the way we show up. And you can see it in your project, right? And what you've just spoken about. So, yeah, really, really interesting. I think one thing, I guess, that we're talking a lot about in the industry now is the future of the UI. And, this project really touches on that. Satya's made some public comments around, we've built UIs over CRUD. That's probably over now. Even internally, we see a vision, particularly for the CRM product, that, you're going to spend your life in either Copilot or Office. That's moving forward. That's probably where you'll spend most of your time, less in a UI. So we see acceleration there. Can we just dynamically build UI components inside of Copilot and things like this? And then we don't have to have a massive UI project as well for a CRM project. I don't see it as much in CCAS and customer service, I must admit. I think that's still a structured UI, to your point with BI. Like a contact center agent needs to see the same UI every time, but CRM's different. What's the learnings around that? Because you dynamically build the UI. Is the feedback that's great? It's making the right decisions and it's working? Because I think that is the future. But yeah, interested in your experience around there.
Yeah, we had to find a balance. But the interesting part is we actually spent much more focus and time and energy and resources on the UI, building it dynamically than not. So the effort around it is huge, but it's also because it's new. I think that is the way it's going to be. Like, there's no doubt in my mind. But I think what we are trying to find the balance around is predictability. And here's why. Like the first version of Sophia, every time you ask the question, you would never get the same chart twice. Never. And that's the whole promise of AI. And over time, we will be used to that. But we are not used to it yet. So it's frustrating now. So we have to find the balance between showing some predictability. And when I ask this type of question, this is visualization you're getting. But over time, I am sure that will go away. And we will laugh and say, oh, you imagine when we were frustrated that the UI was so dynamic. But it's just finding a way to take us all with us on that journey. So that's kind of what we are going through. But back to the question about, do we show reports built into a product? No, like you don't want something pre-configured like that. You want to walk up to an experience and ask, what are my top leads for whatever reason? And you get it. Like that's just an answer. It's so obvious to me that will be the way forward. That will not be a static UI. So I think that is to change, but I think the boundaries for where we let AI define the UI, that's kind of what we are experiencing with in kind of that greater scheme of things.
Yeah, I think one of the things is this ways of working. Yeah, we're going to be interacting more with Copilot, interacting more with agents. So these dynamic experiences are going to become more popular. There's a big change management sort of element to that. So I think that's going to be one of the biggest things we're going to see over the next 12 to 24 months is this behavioral shift in how we actually interact with technology. And Sophia is going to be, second to none when it comes to some of those experiences. I guess what's next for Sophia and the team? I guess what you can share and what you can't share, obviously don't, but what's on the next sort of roadmap for the Sophia team? What are the team working on currently? And yeah, like you say, what you can share. So.
Yeah, no, we are really, really, really heavily invested in. Oh, we have UI changes coming up. We continue to make it more interactive, make it more discoverability to be improved, etc. for the various features. And then what I call user data company context. It's a huge investment to say, when you show me sales for 2024, what date should I pick? Did you mean order date, ship date, launch date? We can't always know, but instead of having IT go and define a data model, we want Sophia to say, oh, hey, Matt, here are the sales showed by order date. If you say, oh, I didn't mean order date, you go and say that to Sophia. I didn't mean order date. I mean this date. We will now remember that and use it next time as well. So the goal is the more you use Sophia, the smarter we get. But instead of asking you a million questions up front, we will show you an answer, but we will tell you why we did it so you can change it. It's a huge shift in mindset for the team, for customers, that we really want to empower users as a full SaaS offering without having somebody model that context for you. So it's a lot of work. It's a lot of experimentation. It's a lot of customer feedback that we're working through. So it's a big effort for us right now.
If the model gets progressively smarter, and I mean, this is the dream in the industry, right? ASI, AGI, they're the three little acronyms right now. So let's say we get to a super intelligence in the next year or two. What does that mean for your product? Does that mean that it can do a lot of this stuff that you're talking about just through the LLM and reduce the workload? Or does it,
interestingly enough, we have already been through at least 5 waves, 3, 4, 5 waves of improvements in the model.
Yep.
That in Team Sophia, because it's the only thing we do, we actually had coded our way around. So we see a problem, we code our way around it, and 2 months later, we see it in the models, which is actually rewarding for so many ways.
Yep.
But yes, then the model catch up and we can not invest in that code, migrate to what comes, and then keep moving. So for us, because we are such a small team, we kind of get to experience the challenges a little ahead of the rest. So it will keep making us the models will just keep making us more and more efficient. But I don't think it will, this is a mode of working, I think. We'll just get more and more for free, but then there's just the next challenge to go tackle. But for example, which date field to pick, etc., that is something we are building into the product. I think everybody have to think through that. There's only so much. I say that now. I may take that back 6 months from now. But there's so much the model can do. But I think what we're really focused on with Sophia is give the user that power in context to keep the dialogue going. The more you use it, the smarter it gets. The goal is also, if you use Sophia, how does that influence other Copilot and agent experiences, which is something we want to do behind the scenes, how engaging in one product, how can you help make other products smarter? Again, there's work for a long time. Just
I can imagine.
As far as I'm aware, you guys are the first team to build an AI-first agentic application for Microsoft. So I gather your learning would be hugely valuable for other teams across the Office team and the Azure team and everyone to kind of see how this is going. So there must be a huge amount of internal interest as well in Seattle, I would imagine.
Yeah, we also have many internal teams who are using it for their own day to day, right?
Okay.
So
I guess you say you've got a small team. Sometimes a small team in Microsoft's a big team everywhere else. How many people in your team? Just curious.
It is very small.
Okay.
It is very small team. It is very small team in any scale. We were a little bit bigger. We went back to a smaller team.
Okay.
It is actually very, very hard to run fast with a bigger team.
Yes, I see. I can see that in Microsoft, right? There's no. If you get too many people, nothing happens.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Awesome.
But we are unbelievably small team in any scale.
Well, you're doing amazing things, and we're really happy that you guys are tackling this huge problem around data visualization and how to use an LLM to, I guess, in a way to be able to help our customers just run their businesses better. I think ultimately that's what we're trying to do here. So, and it's an exciting product, exciting topic. Matt, any final questions for Julie?
No, I am super excited about Project Sophia, and I get the vision. I understand where it's going and all of that kind of stuff. I'm a bit of a curious soul, Julie, so I look into what's coming and what's the latest and greatest, and I kind of understand where this is all going and really excited to see what's next. And like you say, I think one of the key things that you mentioned before is infusing the learnings into the other Microsoft suite. I think that's going to be really, really interesting and really, like I said, over the next 6, 12, 18 months, seeing those learnings infused into those other tools and technologies that we use on a day-to-day basis, I think it's only going to make them better. So, like I say, thank you so much for coming on with us today. I can't wait to access Project Sophia and get started. But yeah, we really do appreciate your time coming on and having a chat with Scott and myself. And yeah, looking forward to hopefully connecting again another time when Project Sophia is actually rolled out to the marketplace in all of these different tools that we use. So yeah,
and of course anyone can get started, right, Julie? They can just go on to just go and Bing search. I nearly said Google. Bing search Project Sophia, and
would have beeped that out.
Yeah, and it will come up, and they can just log on and create an account. Yeah.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yep. projectsophia.microsoft.com. And give us feedback. That's what we are here to learn. We do even things you might not think about, like take 2 annual reports from 2 companies and ask Sophia to say, what's going on with these 2 companies? And we will actually tell you, based on a financial lens, what are the focus for this company versus the other? There's just so much you can do in there. So be creative with your data, upload local data set and explore or use Dynamics and Dataverse and give us feedback.
Awesome. I might do that for Salesforce versus Microsoft.
There's a bit of press about that at the moment, isn't there? So anyway,
all right. Awesome. Thanks, Julie. Really appreciate you coming on the show.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been fun.
No worries. Hey there, just a quick reminder, everything we share on this podcast reflects our personal opinions and not those of Microsoft or any other organisation. If you're enjoying the show, we'd be thrilled if you could hit that follow button and leave us a review. Your support means the world and helps us keep bringing you great content.